Happy New Year! Hi, I'm Suffer Jerome and welcome to Suffer's World. Today we are looking at 2019. What is going on? Well, we're just going to look at January because it's a whole year stretched out before us. A wonderful, magnificent year that is chock full of promise and hope and love and peace, right? So, what's happening? Well, we kick off this week right away with a new moon and a solar eclipse. So on January the 5th, we're going to have a new moon with a solar eclipse in Capricorn. And so, what does this mean? Well, for all the signs, and I should backtrack for 1 minute that this is a general overview video, but then there are other videos where you can click on your individual sign and see exactly what's going to happen to you. So don't forget to watch this video and then go through the playlist to find your sign and signs of your friends and share the links and all that good stuff, right? So Happy New Year from Romance Daily News. Happy New Year from me. Happy New Year from everyone. It's going to be so fantastic. So we're kicking it off with a solar eclipse in Capricorn. So what does that mean? Well, it means things like your public life are highlighted, your career, your reputation, and you're gonna find yourself really figuring out accountability and what it means to you and what you need to do to get it done in your own life. Always with these planetary events, we get lots of time for speculation and planning and dreaming and goal setting and all this stuff. Every month you get a couple of shots at reinventing yourself. So here we have a new moon with a solar eclipse. So you got a really good time coming forward. You'll probably find yourself a little more ambitious during this time and trying to put things in order because you're going to have a revelation. Most of most of us already have that sense of mortality, but some people haven't really clued into that idea yet in relation to their own life and what they need to try and get done in their own life. So you're going to kind of have a eureka moment of, oh, I have a time limit here on Earth. And of course, all of us, when we're born, we don't know how long our time limit is. So it's good to, always do your best and live each day like it's your last. And what that means to you can vary so much. For some people, it might mean being practical and getting things done so that, if they drop dead, the house isn't a mess, there's food in the fridge, that, the will is done, and the burial plot is pre-bought and all that stuff, right? And then there's other people who, in terms of living life as if it's your last day, that those people, this is more kind of my personality where you just live each minute to the fullest. And if you want to do something, you just get out there and do it. But you don't know if it's going to be there tomorrow. You want to go to Europe, figure it out. You may not be able to go tomorrow. There's so many people, especially when I was younger, that they'd get all stressed out about saving for retirement, and they kept putting things off. I have so many friends that put off big vacations and stuff for their retirement. And whereas me, I've always, as a writer and a single mom, money's never been easy, but I did manage to find ways to travel, go to conventions and meet people and see different places. I usually would travel. All my traveling I've ever done has been because I'm going to a convention of some sort. So that way you get cheaper rates to get to places, and then you can add a couple days on either side to really fully embrace things. And then people would think I'm crazy because it's like you got kids, you got to do this. You can barely buy your groceries. What are you doing traveling? But it's like I don't know if I'm going to drop dead tomorrow, and I really want to see New Orleans, or I want to see Atlanta, or I want to see Denver, or whatever. I might try and see England next year. So, what our revelations about our time limits are very different to each and every one of us, and there's no right or wrong way to be. I don't think. I don't think there is, because where I was going with my thought is that these I've seen it now because I've lived long enough to see this, that people who have put off their dreams until they retire have died before they got to retirement age, or they hit retirement age and they're so ill they can't do anything, or they get a surprise baby on the way and then they have to deal with a newborn at 50 instead of getting on with their lives, and so on and so forth, right? So you never know what's around the corner. And also too, you have to remember too, you have parents. Most of us have parents of some sort. I mean, we all came from parents, but it doesn't mean we all have relationships with our parents. And some of us have parents that are still with us. And then just when you're hitting retirement age, maybe your parents are suddenly very sickly or they need your help more, and you can't go anywhere because you have to deal with your parents or your children or your grandchildren and so on. So you never know what life's going to have in store. So this solar eclipse is really going to open your eyes and get you focused on what's really important. And you're going to realize I don't have like forever to deal with this. Humans have a best before date, and we have an expiration date, and we never know when it is. So really, make some lists and figure out what's important to you, what you need to be accountable for to your friends and family, and work, and to yourself most of all, right? Um, Also, with this solar eclipse, I'm reading notes in case you're wondering. It's a good time to set practical and attainable goals. So, this goes along with the fact knowing you have an expiration date and finances and so on. And also, what happens in this particular dance of the planets is that you will have to give up something in order to move forward, which kind of reminds me of the death card in the tarot deck. Where you need to move ahead, but to do that you have to get rid of stuff, and sometimes to give up something to move forward could be dramatic. Like maybe you need to sell your house because you have to downsize to something else because you can't afford the house, or it's too big now because everyone's gone, or whatever. Sometimes you have to actually give something up. You may have to quit your job, or you may have to say goodbye to a friend who you realized wasn't a friend at all because maybe your friend, it can take a long time. You could be friends with people for years and years, and then one day you realize they never were your friend because when you were having a hard time or something was going on, they weren't there for you. And part of that may be cowardice on their side, or that they were protecting, perhaps you had a cheating spouse and they knew all along and they never told you. And so, in reality, they're not your friend because they were protecting the cheater instead of helping you. Have your eyes open, and so that you could make wise choices before the cheater takes all the money and everything, right? So there's all these things. You have to give up something to move forward. You may have to give up ideas you had. Maybe you had someone on a pedestal and you realize that, hey, they're not. They don't deserve to be on that pedestal at all. I have to give up my dream. Maybe you have to give up a dream or give up an idea because you do have to take care of a sick parent or a sick child. Maybe someone's been diagnosed with cancer and you have to take care of them. So you have to give up your freedom or give up your job. There's so many ways to see this, and you don't know what it's going to be for you till you're in it, right? So, anyways, that's a whole bunch of stuff around the new moon and the eclipse and all that stuff. So then, as we go forward in the month, we have a full moon in Leo on the 21st of January. And this is a total lunar eclipse. And then now, when you go through this, it's about finding balance. You need to find some balance, work and play, especially with that Leo Aquarius dynamic happening. Right? Right. And then you probably have a eureka moment of realizing what you really need from life, what you really want from life, and how you're going to set about getting it. And it's a little different idea than the new moon, but like I said at the beginning of the video, we have moons happening and chances all the time to do our things. You miss a new moon or a full moon, there'll be another one. Although these ones are extra special because there's eclipses involved. Also, in that total lunar eclipse full moon scenario we're having on the 21st, you will realize that you really might find yourself rather impulsive because Leos and Aquarians have rather impulsive natures, and you want to make sure you find the balance, and you also want to express yourself. So if you've been kind of holding back in your life, not saying what you mean or not doing what you want, or maybe taking jobs that you really are qualified for something better, or just too nervous or shy or scared or self-depreciate deprecating to go and try and achieve these goals. Well, now's the time for you to really get out there and get stuff done. This is a fantastic time for expressing yourself. And expressing yourself doesn't always mean the arts, but certainly, get a YouTube channel and tell people what's on your mind, like I do. I have zero issues with expressing myself, so who knows what's going to happen to me on the 21st. And then also, this total lunar eclipse will also have a time where you're gonna have to make a final decision or have the final word on something. So obviously some kind of cycle is going to be winding down, and you have to snap it shut. So whatever that is going on, whether it's job or relationships or, moving or, all these things. The world's a huge place. We all don't have to live and die in the same town when, our whole lives. There's a lot of traveling to do and a lot of people to meet. But like I said, sometimes the people we meet aren't the best for us, and sometimes it can take weeks, months, or even years to really see people for who they truly are. And so this is what's going to happen when everything's revealed in these eclipses, that you're going to make some choices in both the eclipses of what you really need to get your life going. Because after all, we're in the new year. It's January. Like, I'm videoing this New Year's Eve, and everyone's making their resolutions. People are going out partying. All kinds of things are going to happen tonight by the time the ball drops. And then in the morning, it's a whole new day, a whole new year, a whole new week, a whole new month, and a whole new life for us to really pretty up and enjoy our new chances. So with resolutions, I don't often, it's always good to have goals, but um, having goals all the time is always good. So have your master plan, put your on your vision board or your dream board or your refrigerator or bulletin board, whatever way it is, handwrite what it is you want to accomplish this year, and then use these two eclipses that are coming up to really power pack those desires, and burn some candles and incense. Take time to yourself and meditate, because a lot of people, there are so many choices in the world, and a lot of people don't realize exactly how much potential they truly have, and how just because one person says no doesn't mean everyone's going to say no when you're trying to move your way up the ladder and push forward to activate your own dreams and desires. So don't be afraid to write everything down on your vision board over the next few days. I say vision board, but it's whatever you want it to be. Just make notes, even in a diary or your book of shadows or whichever. Just really focus on what you need to do for you. Don't think about anyone else for a few minutes. I know some of you never think about anyone else, and some of you always think about other people. But just think about yourself and what you need to do to make yourself happy with the personality type you have and your own goals and dreams and desires that you're trying to set through. Okay, so Happy New Year! So much fantasticness is ready for all of us. So I hope you're all going to do great. And don't forget to look at the other side, to look at the signs on the playlist to find out your own personal motivations and horoscopes for this month of January 2019. Happy New Year!